order. So if you could all join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, we're going to do introduction. We'll start with you. If you'd be loud for the record.
Timothy Silvernail, Budget Committee.
Mark Solomanto, Budget Committee.
John Childs, Budget Committee.
Julie Keane, Budget Committee.
Okay.
Beth Tower, Chief of Police.
John Harrington, Town Administrator.
Eric Lombardi.
Jeffrey Venegas, Budget Committee.
Chris Fowler, Budget Committee.
Lisa Toll, Budget Committee.
Keith Claus, School Board Rep.
Diane Adamolfo, Select Board Rep.
Elaine Bovier, Budget Committee. Thank you for that. Okay, so we really have no citizens. Okay, so you'll recall that at the last meeting, there were a lot of questions in regards to some certain line items, particularly in the police department and some at town hall, that were overspent. And I was highlighting them all, and I was gonna get the information and report back. In thinking of that further, I think it's better that it comes right from the department head, so it's not second and third hand information. So I asked Beth if she could be here to answer those questions. So, and, you know, we're gonna do that first and then John to kind of get them out, but we'll answer all the questions. So I'm hoping that you've had a chance to review the budgets that were sent out. And the police department, Beth just handed us budget overages worksheet, so you'll see exactly what went over and why it went over. So I'm gonna open it up for discussions to the police chief right now.
Excellent.
Explain yourself, Chief.
Wow.
So I'll just refresh your memory on what all these questions were. There was the SRO, which is $16,000, but that's grant funding, is that correct?
So this could take a few minutes to go over.
Okay.
I did read your last set of minutes and they're not accurate, so I wanna make sure you guys all understand exactly what's going on with that SRO position. That was a grant that we received in 2023, the 2023-2024 school year. Our school resource officer that we wound up hiring didn't start in the school until the end of the spring of 2024. And then we learned all of 24-25 at the new school. Everything that I received when I came in suggested that the grant was 75% federally funded, 25% local match. I only found out about a month ago that that was also grossly inaccurate. The grant paid 58.13% and the PD was responsible for 41.87%. When the budget was done for 2025, 25% of his overall salary was budgeted for the PD to pay. But again, that's kind of not accurate either because he works in the school as the SRO, but he also covers patrol shifts, covers gaps in the schedule, summertime, stuff like that. So his overall salary, there's only a certain percentage of it that is school resource officer related. Of those hours, federal government pays the 58.13%, we pay the 41.87%.
Of the school hours only.
School hours only, everything else is paid through the PD budget, so the $16,000 that was budgeted was far less than it should have been.
How many hours do you work in the school?
I don't have that information with me, I do have it, in another worksheet, I can certainly get that to you if you want it. But I've broken it down from 2023-24 through 24-25, and then the start of this year, to get that, more accurate. The other issue that I quickly discovered, is that we haven't received any money from the federal government since 2023, due to financial and performance reports having never been submitted. Looking at the fine print, you only have 30 days to submit those reports to be able to draw down funding for reimbursement. So clearly, a lot of those reporting periods are far beyond the 30 days. When I originally started speaking with people at the DOJ and in the finance department there regarding this, they told me that once I got all the financial reports in and all the performance reports in, I would then be able to go back and draw down funds and even replenish 2024. I don't know if that's the case now. I don't know if they knew about the 30-day requirement to get the information in or not. But I just found that out, like I said, about a month ago. So right now, just as an update, as of August, I think, I went back in retro, filled out all the financial reports, filled out all the performance reports for each period, and everything has been submitted. Right now, with the government shutdown and everything, going into the ASAP account is like a nightmare. Trying to get someone at the help desk to help is not fun right now. But I'm actively working on that. I was communicating with Scott Smith today, over in Town Hall, to get him set up in the ASAP account. That's the automated standard application for payments. That's where you go in and you request funds for reimbursement. He needs to get set up. Rita was set up to do it, but she's gone. So once he's able to do that and we're able to all get on the same page, he should be able to go in and start trying to figure out how to request those funds back and to see how far back we can actually go, to see if they will reimburse us.
So is it a fair statement to say that we have never received grant funding for the SRO position?
That is 100% accurate. We haven't received one penny yet from the federal government. So his entire salary has been coming out of our full-time salary line since we got the grant. And only 16,000 was budgeted for.
I have a question. So who was supposed to file the reports? Was it the police department or? I'm not trying to throw anybody on the bus. I'm just trying to figure out.
Yes.
So, okay.
Why such a discrepancy from 75 to 50, whatever?
You don't.
I mean, that's a big.
The only thing I can think of is maybe there was a verbal communication where the information was inaccurate and that's just what stuck and what went out. But when I look back at the application, it very clearly says 58.13 and 41.87.
4187 paid
By us.
locally by PD.
Yeah.
Well, going back to Jules, you had a question on how many hours the SRO is at the school. Every time I sub, he's there. Like I think he's there 7:30 to 2:30 every single day.
He is. He
Okay.
generally is, but then like if he has training or something like that outside of the school, the grant does not pay for his training. So when we have to send him to an SRO conference, which is required to be the SRO and it's part of the grant, that's not paid for. That's also paid out of the PD budget. So again, it was I feel a gross miscommunication
Yeah.
at the onset that wasn't discovered until it was way too far into the process. So right now I'm trying to kind of backpedal and see what I can recover.
Right.
And just one more question.
Yeah.
How long is this grant for?
So we have 5 years, 2023 to 2028, and we have to have someone in that position 3 out of those 5 years. Once we have satisfied that 3-year obligation, we are then obligated to do another 12 months, 100% funded by the PD. And that's in addition to our regular patrol and administration staff.
Okay.
So if Nate stays, 23, 24, 24, 25, 25, 26, 27, 28, we would have to fill that position with the budget in order to be in compliance with the grant.
And I know that they're often, just talking with them in the school, that he leaves the school and then he goes on patrol.
So
There
when
have been times when he's done that.
Absolutely, so we can't pull him from the school during the day because it's being funded through a grant.
Mhm.
So if we have someone call out sick on the day shift, we can't pull him from the school. We have, someone else has to come in, I cover, whatever the case may be. But as soon as he's on either end of his school day, he can work patrol. So if there's a gap in the schedule, like right now, because I'm out on light duty, he's coming in at 3 a.m., working till 7, I was supposed to be doing that so that we can get those 4 hours covered before he goes to the school. And that's obviously paid by us.
So anytime that he would do that after school hours or work on weekends,
That's all.
it becomes overtime.
Correct. Through the PD budget.
Okay, any questions on that?
When, so this was, we voted this in, right?
Yes,
And when it was voted, the wording stated that it was
75-25.
75, so we voted for, it's not accurate, so we.
Right.
Okay. Does that affect it in any way, that it wasn't worded correctly? I'm not saying we go back and do anything, but these are questions that, I'm only bringing up questions that are gonna be brought up, that's all.
I don't know the answer to that,
So
Jeff. I
that might be
don't.
something we just look into to make sure that we were, that everything is done correctly,
I
that's all.
think you were given the information that was assumed to be correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we had no way of knowing it wasn't.
Oh, 100%, no,
Yeah.
I just wanna make sure we're all, these are, I'm just bringing up questions that are probably gonna be brought up, that's all.
Right.
Okay.
I got a quickie.
Yes.
Going forward, it's a burden on the town to have this officer at the school. Do we really need, if we do it away with this, is this a problem?
I don't know what the ramifications would be for that with the grant, because it's
Well,
already
the
been
grant doesn't
approved,
cover the
but-
whole thing, so we'd probably save some money.
Right, I just don't know what that means if they would then, I don't know what it means if we step outside of the grant and don't complete it, that's,
Well, you said a 5-year obligation, so if
Yep.
we do the 5 years, and then we decide whether we need this or not.
right, that totally different story, we
All
can
right.
say, nope.
That's
don't
kinda
do
what
it.
I was getting at.
Nope, I agree.
We can't just not do it now, because then.
We're
you
kinda
have to-
into it,
then
we're
you
into
have
it
to
for,
pay back all the way,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, we haven't gotten anything yet, so what are we paying back?
Now's the time to do it.
So, it's cut bait type of thing, but I
Well,
don't
we're
know.
gonna
I
get that
mean-
money back, then it's not something.
Well,
that-
if we
Plus,
can,
we also need to take a look at the value of it also. Right now, I know we're looking at the money aspect of it and everything, I understand that. We also have to look, what is the value? It was voted in it initially because there was a perceived value from the
Right.
town and from the schools, right? And we've all seen different things that are going on in schools across the country. So having a person in the schools benefit, the return on investment benefit, it's not gonna be nickels and dimes, obviously. So we have to, that's what we talked about before, we have to talk to the school, we have to see what's going on there, we have to see what the effect is in the community. So it's really hard, and I know right now we're all looking at it, it's hard to put a dollar value on what that is. But 100% when the grant runs out, we have to do an assessment and see, okay, after that time period that we had an officer in there, what has been the effect, the return on investment with that, with the community, with the kids. So I definitely understand what you're saying, 100%. That's something we
And we
definitely have to
can-
revisit.
We can get you calls, like, of his involvements throughout the day, like, that kind of stuff too, to show what he's been doing.
It's a little hard when we don't have kids anymore in the schools to see what the temperature is in the schools.
oh, I'm sure.
You know,
So, Beth, that's
Yes.
actually a good point, right?
Right.
That what he's dealing with. And then, how many what, of those things that he's dealing with, would we have had to send an officer out there for, right?
Yeah.
You know?
The vast majority of them, like, I know the kid comes in with bites and scratches and stuff every day. There's obviously behavioral issues at the school, there's kids in different departments and different programs for a reason. And that probably is a lot of his call volume over there. There was more, I don't wanna say minor things, we've always had to respond in the past. Right now, with him being over there, we don't have to, we can be out on the road patrol, we can be dealing with someone in an interview room and not have to cut it short to go deal with something at the school, so I mean, it definitely are benefits. Whether it can be sustained or not is another story, I mean, that's what's gonna have to be.
Well, I think sustainability is what we want sustainability to be,
Right.
right? We can say we wanna sustain that, and we find a way to go ahead and make it happen, because I do think that there is a distinct benefit to having a police officer in a school.
Yeah.
Not just from the safety aspect of what if, but just to have that authoritative figure, a public figure, someone that the kids understand and feel and respect, look up to, feel and respect. That also brings them back into the community,
Mhm.
right?
building relationships.
It builds those relationships and
A lot of those kids in
whatnot.
the school, they'll see the officers come in and out of the school, and then on the weekend, something happens, they've seen the officer, or it's Nate responding to the
Yeah.
house and they're familiar with him, so.
Mhm.
it's
Because
just-
sometimes it's not really that face,
Mhm.
it's that uniform and that badge, and when they feel comfortable with that, because so many kids are very fearful of that uniform and badge. and having them in the school brings that fear way, way down. So when they do see them outside, or they're responding to something in their neighborhood, that fear can be kind of dwindled down a little bit. So I do think there's definitely an added value to that, and it's just a matter of, you know, how can we do that if we choose to.
Any other questions on that particular, the SRO? Okay,
We're just hoping to get back paid on some of the,
Yeah, I'm working on it. For sure.
it's good that they'd even prorate it and go back.
I'm keeping my fingers and toes crossed,
Yeah.
for sure.
Why isn't any of that salary noted as being spent on the report that I have?
That's a very good question. I don't know.
It's an accounting thing, I have no
At
idea.
town hall?
Yep, I have no idea. It's, the whole
It's-
SRO, the grant thing has been very, because it hadn't been set up properly from the
yeah,
beginning,
you're
so
right,
they're working on
showing
trying to get it.
zeros, huh?
Yeah,
I'll
cause
figure it
there's
out.
$16,000
Right.
Yeah, it's-
there, which
Yeah.
was probably the 25% share of it.
Yep,
Yeah,
So that's a
I was
good-
gonna say, that
that's a
sounds
good
awful
question
low.
Right there. So where is that being allocated at? Is that just showing a deficit in the?
It's
so
showing
goes to
as-
regular salaries probably,
Yeah,
because.
Oh, it's
everything
rolled
has come
into
out of
regular
full-time
So
salary.
when we do get that corrected, then we'll show a balance onto that, and that should help out that line. Or if we get it.
The other, and you provided the clarification, so there was, the computers was overspent, computer software.
yep. So I went and we did as you can see, a 3-year look back on the budget starting in
Mhm.
2022, just so I could kinda figure out the why. And you can see everything that I've highlighted on here, going back those years, all those lines have historically been underfunded. The computers and software, that's our security system, that's our internal affairs, training, field training software. IMC, which is our records management system. Those are all big ticket items that total over $6,000 right off the top, so, you can see we were over by 3,000 in 2022, 1,700 in 23, and 15 in 2024, but that's because we purchased the MDTs, that did get reimbursement grant.
The 13,000?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and I guess the other one that really jumped up was, all right, so overtime, I mean, that's all part of probably the SRO and,
So I can explain that a little bit better. Generally speaking, we've historically been down an officer or two. It always happens. People come in and then they leave, people come in and leave. So when our overtime, goes way over what's budgeted, typically our full-time salary line is way down here because we're not paying 1 or 2 full-time salaries. So everything kind of works out. What happened beginning of 2025, we were down multiple people. 3 people were hired, which we never do. We never even can get more than 1 person into the academy at a time. We had 1 finish an academy class, and then we had 2 in the academy at the same time. So what happened then is they were all getting their full-time salary, but because they're brand new and were in the academy, they weren't working, so we were technically still down 3 officers who had to work overtime to cover the rows and cover all the shifts. So we weren't seeing a spike in overtime with a drop in full-time salaries. Full-time salaries was keeping pace because we were paying these people to be in the academy and to go through their field training, but it didn't change the fact that everybody else had to cover the shifts at overtime.
Yeah.
So they both
went up.
went up,
Yeah.
and typically that does not happen.
okay. So,
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I guess my question is, could you tell us why, I mean, in 2025, if we were down 3 officers going into 2025, any idea what prompted that? I mean, did they leave to neighboring communities for
So
more
we-
money, or
we-
what happened?
We lost one who left 1 week out of the academy. He went to the academy for 4 months, and on his 5th shift following academy graduation quit. So we had to replace him. We had another officer who left and got completely out of police work altogether. Didn't think it was for him, and then I'm drawing a blank on the other one. I think we were already down someone at that point, maybe.
Okay,
How many officers do we have full-time?
From the top down, there's 11, including the school resource officer.
So it wasn't a I'm sorry, Jeff, maybe, so it wasn't a paid situation, we just had different various things that caused the officers to leave, it wasn't a
Yeah, one kid was
competition,
like, just like, this is not for me.
which is
like,
probably
he-
better that he said that.
Absolutely, yep, you cut ties where you need to that, and then the other one, it's kind of the same thing. He went, did his own thing, he actually just got hired by Pembroke PD because he wanted to come back. I would've loved to take him, but we weren't hiring, so.
So everybody's done with the academy now?
Everyone
Back
is
in-
done, so Officer Levine, she's been on her own for a couple of months. Officer Susie just started being on her own shift in October, but she still has to work alongside someone so that there's at least another body with experience on duty with her. And then, Officer Glover, he still has another month to go before we assess whether he's ready to take his own shift or not.
Okay.
so in your mind, we're fully staffed,
We're down one still. We
Down
still have
one.
not filled Chief Stark's position.
okay. Okay. So, and I don't even know if there's the legalities to all of this, but when we pay for the training and for the academy,
Correct.
okay? Is there an agreement made between the individual that, for reimbursement if they choose to,
So
can we
we
even do
don't-
that?
We don't offer, like a contract. Some departments do, where you sign a 3-year contract, and if you leave, then you pay back. We've never done that. I could probably look up the pros and cons to either way. My feeling kind of is if someone really doesn't want to be here and wants to leave.
Becomes a liability.
Yeah.
Exactly, I don't want someone here who doesn't want to be here.
Yeah.
It's a safety issue, liability issue, those sorts of things. So sometimes, as much as you don't like to see it happen, if someone is making that decision, it's probably because they need to go. But yeah, we've had, the last guy who left to go do something completely different, he was just shy of getting one of his stipends, sign-on bonuses, and, you know, it happens.
Right. Okay. So the other item, I'm just going over all my notes from the last time, was, what was the other one? Okay, recruitment and hiring, so, but that's because of the 3.
That's exactly it. It's very rare that we have 3 people get hired within 1 year. If you look at the backside of the first page at the top, every year we go over. To get a new officer through the door, just through the background check, the psych exam is $450, polygraph is $300, medical is $135, drug testing $70. It's upwards of $1,000 per officer, just in medical and exam stuff. That doesn't include anything else in terms of uniforms, equipment, anything like that. So that definitely made it spike this year. I'm hoping that doesn't happen coming into 2026, but that's why.
Does the new officers account for the, over budget in 2024 for, uniforms?
I have no idea.
That's a lot of money over.
Let me see.
Are you looking at the uniform line,
Yeah,
Jules?
PD uniforms, of 2024, the budget was seven grand, and they ended up spending 16 grand and change.
So,
On uniforms?
It says PD uniforms on the back of the first page on the bottom.
I got 7,000 budgeted and 911 spent.
Yeah.
no,
Right.
911 spent.
so 2024,
Oh,
it could be a
2024.
typo, but I don't think so. I think
Yeah.
2024, we budgeted 7,000 and spent 16,974, so that could be, vests, because we had 3 officers get ballistics vests that we did also have a grant for, so I believe some of that money probably came back to us.
Okay.
That's ringing a bell in my head.
Now, with the history of the overages over the last few years, I know that it's not just prior to you. How do you plan to budget for the 2026 season, considering we might be looming on another default budget?
I'm going to budget it based on exactly what the projected cost is gonna be for each line. So I can tell you recruitment and hiring is gonna go from 2,000 to 3,000. I'm gonna put in exactly what is needed, and if it's a default, we're gonna have to figure out what the solution is from there. But I'm not gonna under budget something when I know it's gonna cost more for that line.
So are they expecting like a sticker shock or
For,
for the entire budget?
yeah,
Okay.
Primarily because of all the corrections that will be made.
corrections that are gonna be made, putting in more accurate numbers for each line item, and then accounting for inflation and just fees and tuitions, subscriptions, everything has gone up. The best example that I can give you guys right now is our Central New Hampshire Special Operations Unit, it's like SWAT, like you see on TV. The past several years, to be a member of that, and have access to those emergency services, it was $3,000 per department or town or whatever. In 2025, that went up to $3,500. It increased $500. It is what it is. But the default was for 3,000, so we had to come up with 500 somewhere else. So, but that's happening in line after line after line as I go through it and look at the fees. Now, some of them aren't going to change. I went through today. There's some things that we reached out to some people, and they're like, nope, it won't change for 2026. Great. Still waiting to hear back from some other people.
That SWAT team, is it out of Concord or Manchester?
It's, Pembroke is kind of the hub of it in terms of the administration of it, but it's from communities all within central New Hampshire. Ed Shaughnessy from Bradford PD is the SOU commander, so people are kind of from all over the place. But I do think that most of their equipment comes out of Concord area.
Like a Bearcat or something?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. They do,
What-
training twice a month.
Twice a month, yeah.
Yep.
Let's say, what's the protocol for active shooter, like the school, or is that where that comes in, or
They
or
would
the
come
resource
in, but
officer?
pretty long after the fact, because you gotta consider it could take up to 90 minutes to mobilize an entire SWAT team and get them to the location. So I'm actually doing active shooter training with the school faculty tomorrow morning. You're welcome to come in and watch if you want, but it's more or less their response to an active shooter. And then we also do our response to active shooter, what the police do.
Kind of a crazy world we live in,
A little bit.
Yeah.
although I think we're pretty isolated here, but. Knock on wood, right?
Okay, so, but I do have one question though, on the full-time salaries, and I'm looking at last month's report, because that's where I had all my notes. The total budget was $731,000, so is that number expected to go up, because this number was 3 positions down? Okay,
Well, I don't know how it was budgeted. It might have been budgeted with the anticipation of having those filled.
okay.
I would have to go and do the numbers to figure out how.
Because assuming this report was correct, only $471,000 was expensed from that.
Mhm.
But I don't know if that's accurate, so,
Neither do I at this moment. So I'll have to look into it though.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so that was pretty much the big things, and I do appreciate you putting this together.
100%.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, any other questions of the police department? Beth, she was kind enough to come in out of uniform, we appreciate it.
It's so much more comfortable.
So,
Yeah.
as I am looking through all
Yes.
this, it seems like a lot of these things weren't budgeted correctly, like some of the line items were way under budgeted for
And
many different things.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is just because we historically, like I said, have been down 1 or 2 people, we've had the excess in the full-time salary, so at the end of the year, the bottom line has kept us where we need to be.
Yeah.
But I think we're at that point now, we're only down 1 person, I wanna put another patrol sergeant on and not just another officer. we're gonna be full staff now, so that full-time salary line is gonna be maxed out.
Yeah.
The overtime should come down,
Yeah.
but we're still looking at, you still have to cover
Right.
vacations and holidays, and the more longevity you have, the more vacation time you
Yeah.
have that someone has to fill, so. It's a good problem to have, because we've got longevity and experience and good officers, but when it comes to the budget, it's not a fun problem to have.
So, I mean, you're at 75% of your budget, assume, this is as of the report dated today.
Okay,
So you still have 75%, you've expended 75% of your budget.
yeah.
So with 25% left in I was gonna say the school year, the year, you know, assuming nothing else.
Listen,
And-
I've got our people working in the dark at the PD, there's no lights on during the day, shut the lights off. We're pinching pennies.
Okay. Well, thank you very, very much for coming
Thank
in
you.
and for doing this. This was helpful. Because we're gonna be discussing, and actually, we might be making a change to the November 1st and bumping that to November 8th. And we'll discuss that, and we'll certainly let you know.
Great,
Give you an extra week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and we also have John here, because we had questions for, the actual town hall and executive, and thought we'd have him here to answer the questions, so you can get it right from the source, and I thank you very much for being here.
You're welcome.
So, for you, this is what we had. The executive computer equipment and software was overspent, I don't know, $2,800. Is that the new software that went to the new computers over at Town Hall?
That's our contract with CCS, who runs
Okay.
all of our computers.
Okay.
It was likely put in the operating budget that it was going to go up, but because we didn't get the operating budget, we're still spending out of that line.
Okay.
We're seeing the overage.
Okay. So it's contract services?
Correct.
Okay. And the other thing was, can you comment on election and registration?
I'll do my best. That's not
Okay.
my area, but go ahead and
Again,
ask your
computer
question.
software, and I'm thinking that that's the new voting machine, the ballot machine.
Actually, the voting machine has its own line further down. The software would be any updates that were done in the spring for the March election.
Okay, so that's that computer software
Correct.
up at the top, 2,900. So that was a one-time deal for the special election, or?
No, that was the March.
That
The March.
would have to have been done concerning the March election. The voting machine has its own line where it was
Okay.
charged.
Right.
All right. And it's understandable that the election and registration lines would have been overspent. We had a lot of elections last year. So that, you know,
New
adds,
software
Well-
for everyone.
Yeah.
This would be only
This is-
25,
Oh, yeah.
okay,
not last year.
That's right.
Now,
Okay.
speaking of the
There's
voting,
only been one election, I believe.
Right.
Yeah, just
Right.
in
Just the
March,
March.
this year.
this year.
did the state reimburse us half for the machine yet?
It did.
It did, okay.
Okay, so now I'm on page 2, and I'm looking at last year's, and the other thing that we had discussed was finance department contracted services budgeted 3,000, spent 79,000. And I
Exactly.
think that was because of Rita, the MRI
Correct.
position.
And you will see the opposite effect up on the finance director's line. There's still available 86,000. That hasn't been spent. There's only 2% out of that line.
Which one's
The
that?
very
Very
top
top
line.
Okay, the very top one, okay.
So you've got to look at the plus and minus of that. We don't-
Okay,
The total of all of them, if you add in what was budgeted, was 91,940.
Mhm.
And the four of them, we spent 118,334.
The
So it's
four of-
26 grand in the hole.
The four of what?
I'm looking at finance director salary, finance
Clerk,
clerk.
clerk,
Yeah.
overtime, and
contracted services.
contracted services.
Correct.
So, John, if you could just kind of explain, I know Rita's no longer with the town.
She's only with sewer. She retained her work with sewer.
But that's reflected
No,
in the
that'll
sewer
be out of
budget.
their budget.
Okay,
Right.
so we no longer have her with this, you know, I mean, we were paying her significant money. But now we have a replacement for her, which is working 1 day a week.
1 day a week. Rita was in 2 days a week, every week.
Okay,
So we're down to 1 day a week. I haven't gotten the first bill for him yet.
okay,
But I'm assuming he makes less per hour. Rita had been there quite a while. She's their top person, so she was making a top rate. As soon as I find out how much we're paying for him, I'll be better able to judge. But that's what drew that down so quickly.
okay,
She was primarily tasked with getting our audits caught up. That's why she was here so much.
Is
okay,
that project completed yet?
We have 2023, which I'm anticipating having the report finished in my hands by the end of the month. And we're right on schedule for 2024. However, given Rita's timing of her departure, she left the first day of the 2024 audit. So we were not able to complete that appointment. They had to go on and move on in their schedule. They likely won't be back until December or possibly January to start the 2024 audit.
And how long will that take?
Usually they're in town for a week, and it could take 4 months, 5 months, depending on how accurate the paperwork is.
so 2022, I have a copy of it, so that's
Done.
completed. 2023 had 3 or 4 adjustments.
2023 is, for all intents and purposes, completed. They just need to put together the final report.
Okay, and 2024 looks like it's probably.
Delayed,
It's delayed, but it's in good shape,
Yes.
if you will.
yes.
Okay,
And
Unlike
the new
2022.
finance director is working with our auditors to have that all ready to go.
okay,
Is the new finance director MRI or is
He
it
is.
our employee?
He's MRI,
So we're paying consulting fees on,
correct. But we're also saving in healthcare and dental costs and benefits.
okay. All right, so hopefully we can get the 24 done, then
Right.
they can jump right into 25 and we're
Well,
caught up.
25 won't be due until next fall.
Next,
so
right, right, but we'll be in
way
good shape.
Yep.
For financing purposes too,
Correct.
you know, cause I'm thinking when she said the grant, you know, if the grant folks want to see financials from the town and they're not available, it affects everything.
As you're aware, there was quite a bit of
Yeah,
time to make up that needed to be done.
right. So we're on the right track anyway. The other thing was, let's see, I think, what else were we gonna discuss here? Was that insurances for the town? I mean, is that going out to some sort of bidding? I mean, the health insurance?
We just changed carriers,
We
we
just
went
changed
through all
it.
that.
Okay,
And I'm hoping to realize a savings for 2026.
good. Okay. Any other questions of John while he is here?
So are we gonna replace the finance, or are we just gonna keep on using MRI to do the,
That's something to be determined. Once all the audits are caught up, I will be discussing with the Board of Selectmen. What do they wanna see? There was some mention in the last meeting about possibly going back to a full-time finance director. I wanna really talk about that in depth to see if that's something the town really needs at this point. Or do we go with a part-time, or do we stick with a contract person at very few days a week? That model did work well with, for me in Deerfield. We had Rita, I have known Rita for 8 years now. She came into town once a month and the rest of her time was remote. And it was a very low budget impact situation. There were no benefits involved, but she was able to do most of her work. Of course, we weren't behind 3 audits.
Right,
Right.
And our finance department was very sound.
right.
so you get a better picture once all the audits are completed, and then you can see on your day-to-day how.
Correct.
you can report what the workload, the workflow will be.
What the town really requires.
Gotcha. Okay.
And if I can, just to get back to Tim's question, you asked the chief, what's the budget going to look like next year? To be honest with you, it is going to be up.
Okay.
Because you've gotta remember, you're gonna be comparing 2026 estimated expenses to 2024 budget dollars. Every year you fail to pass an operating budget, that gap widens. Because our job is to present to the town, what are the expenses to run the town? I base my budget on known increases. I try to level fund where I can, decrease where I can. But if the costs are going up, I have to be truthful and tell you the costs are going up. And each year, as we all know, costs seem to keep rising. But if you continue to vote in a default budget, you're gonna see that percentage increase grow tremendously from 2% one year to 4% the next year to 6%, and it continues to grow. And as an example, in the last town I was an administrator in, they voted in a default budget 8 years in a row. The last budget I presented was 16.5% higher than the year before. The reason being, you were dealing with 10-year-old budget numbers that were carried forward year after year, but the costs kept going up. So what ended up happening is you are more dependent on your capital reserve funds. You're still spending the money. The warrant articles still go out to say, can we replenish this capital reserve fund or that capital reserve fund? And what I was doing was diverting expenses that should be hitting your daily budget into capital reserve funds, which are really rainy day funds for emergencies, not day-to-day expenditures. But that's how you exist, not the best way financially. So I just want to be truthful with you. You're going to see a higher budget, unfortunately.
Throughout all departments.
Have you given any direction to the department heads about the budget planning?
I tell them to put in the budget exactly what they need, not what they want, and not wish list. If they can find cost savings, please do so. But our job is to tell you the truth of what it costs. If I put a budget out there that is less than we actually need and we run out of money, you're gonna be looking at me as what happened and how do we make ends meet. And I need to be honest with the residents here, so you know what you're spending or what you are being asked to spend. I don't believe in doing across the board budget reductions because you're misleading the public of what it's gonna cost.
As far as I know, the warrant articles that have not yet been submitted, but I'm sure you've heard about what folks might be putting in for warrant articles. Are there any that are gonna have a significant financial impact to the taxpayer?
I only know of one warrant article right now. I have in my possession a petition warrant article to bring back townwide garbage collection. That's approximately $450,000 for that petition warrant article.
So that's just shy of $1 per thousand.
Wow.
Yeah,
Now, obviously, when I prepare the default budget, because we don't have an active trash collection contract, those dollars will not be in our default budget.
correct.
Because I'm only putting in what we actually have to spend. So between that, the collection will be down almost to $1. I'll leave it open for $1. In case we get a contract, we're gonna need a line to put it in. Because if you zero out a line, you're not able to spend out of it. $1 keeps the line open. But if you go down to the disposal, that I'll work with Chad, because we, as you know, we still have the transfer station open. We have minimal transport fees. We're gonna need to determine how much we really need to leave in that line. So the default budget overall will be down, but other expenses will be back where they needed to be this year, but we weren't able to get those dollars.
Is there, I have a question. This is Deb Carney. I'm late. I'm sorry. I'm here now.
Hi.
When the whole thing went down with trash, town people can't even bring their trash to the transfer station, which is insane to me.
Oh, they can now.
Now, well, because Permore is taking it, right? Is
Right.
that part of the new, is that in a budget?
That is a totally private project between the
I
town.
use them for my trash
Yeah.
pickup now.
And that's fee-based.
It's fee-based. If you do not want curbside and you wanna be able to bring your solid waste to the transfer station, you're actually, working with Pure More, the company, not
Right.
the town of Allenstown.
Right, is that in the works to try to at least get the taxpayers to be able to bring their own trash to their own town? Or is that gonna always be a per more thing?
It's a Pure More thing, because when you bring trash to the town, you've got the transportation costs again. And
But
the
if you're bringing your own,
the
it's-
transfer station as it exists right now cannot handle all the trash from the entire town.
Oh, cause Casella was picking it up.
Correct.
Okay,
So they have to, I'm sorry, this is Jeff, so Paramore's gonna have to pick it up and then take care of it, that's their.
somewhere else.
Somewhere
So
else,
they
right.
take it from
Yes,
Allenstown.
That's,
Yeah,
I
they're
mean,
just,
people were
they're
able
just
to
a
do that
collection.
now. So people that are bringing their trash there now, do they pay a fee to permit?
Yep. They do.
It's $9 a barrel, I think,
Yes.
Okay,
right?
and I'm only paying 44, and that's recycling
And that's
too,
for,
so curbside.
one bag or however many bags to fill up a barrel. So if you're a resident and you have one bag of trash a week, you could go once every 3 weeks, fill up the barrel, and it's $9.
$9.
If you go with the one bag, it's still $9. So there are ways to save money if that's the way you wanna do it.
So the warrant article that you saw had to do with what?
Bringing back a townwide contract. Yeah, like
Is there a
Casella.
company in mind?
Nope, it's just getting a referendum from the people. Do you want the town to contract again for townwide garbage pickup?
And did that have a pay-as-you-throw at the dump for the facility pickup too that was in there? Cause there was a revolving fund petition that went with it. So I think there's still gonna be expenses at the dump to throw trash.
There may be if the other, there's 2 petitions.
Oh, pay as you throw is warrant.
So as far as warrant articles, that's going to be the most with the
And I'll
significant
probably
impact.
be reviewing all of the capital reserve funds to see which ones need to be replenished. Last year, I encouraged the board not to put any warrant articles in, but the budget, given that there was such a lot of focus on the tax rate, and the board went along with that, and still the budget didn't pass. But this year, I think we're going to have to look at replenishing some of the capital reserve.
But replenishing with unassigned fund balances or actually putting it as a,
That brings us to another question. Because our audits are still not complete, and the 2023 audit was completed, but not with secure numbers from the auditors, I'm going to again recommend that the board not utilize the unassigned fund balance. We're not confident in that number yet.
okay,
By the end of 2024's audit, we will have a solid number, and then they can,
okay.
again, I would recommend they can use it again. But I would hate to put a warrant article out assigning unassigned fund balance and not have those dollars there when you go to get them.
Right, because then you can't fund it.
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions of John while he's here?
Town treasurer,
We're gonna be posting for that position. That and the health officer.
So you want to just, I know I promised I'd get you out by 7. You still got 2 minutes.
Sure.
As far as state of the town, I mean, what is going on out there that we should be aware of?
Well, the building inspector, as many of you may know, has tendered his resignation by the end of the year. He'll finish his contract out. The board is in discussion on whether or not we're going to rehire another full-time building inspector or go to a part-time position, depending on the needs of the town. The multi-department admin assistant has found other employment more in her area. She'll be moving on. She's a multifaceted position. She's currently our family service director, or some of you might call it welfare. She also does, helps out in the highway department, the building inspector department, and where needed throughout town offices. So she also does the annual town report. That is her function. So that I'll be looking to fill as soon as the board can decide whether or not that is a full-time position or a part-time position. But that particular position in town is made up of blended funding from multiple departments. It's from the welfare department, the building department, the highway department. So, that's the only way that position can be paid.
Okay.
So there's a lot of decisions made before I can post the building inspector and that admin assistant.
Okay. The other question that I have is I did listen to the Board of Selectmen meeting, on Monday night's meeting. And I guess the highway department is on hold until, the new building is on hold until spring of 2026?
That is an option, it may happen.
Okay.
We recently sent out an RFP for the foundation pouring and building. We didn't get any responses. So what we approached the board with on Monday, we have a purchasing policy of which anything that costs over $10,000 needs to go out to bid. This is well above that. But given the late time in the year to be working with concrete, and the plan specifications don't allow to use winter concrete, which includes certain chemicals because of the structure, the board granted the road agent to waive the RFP process, go out and get 3 qualified quotes, and then we can decide from there. And hopefully still be able to put the foundation in this year. The part you're thinking of is they elected to allow the receiving of the building materials to be brought in and put on site.
Okay.
The concern is, given the economy, not knowing what steel prices are going to look
Right.
like, even though we have a locked-in contract, there's always the option that a contractor will upcharge you because their costs have dramatically gone up by the time we actually receive the materials. Our feeling is, better to get it now at the price we have locked in, store it on site, and then it's ready for us to build when the foundation's done.
Now, you said, we had no bites on the RFP. How exactly was the RFP put out to bid?
It's
Does it go
posted on
through-
the town webpage, it's posted on New Hampshire Municipal, which is statewide.
Okay,
And the building inspector actually called and emailed 7 different contract vendors to say it's going to be on the website Monday, please take a look at it. So 7 contractors knew it was out there.
okay. So there's nothing like this construction review that, where all RFPs go?
That is a possibility.
Because there's a cost associated with
Correct.
that. Okay, what is the cost? I mean,
The cost.
to put an
Oh,
RFP out on?
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
And what-
I was just curious.
Just curious, I haven't heard anything about it in a while. What's the status of the town webpage?
The webpage is currently being built.
Okay.
That is all being done by Civic Plus, who's the vendor for the webpage. Because of the option we chose, which is one of the standard prepackaged webpage looks, there was no cost to us. They are building it and transferring all of the existing information over to the new page. There's not much we have to influence the look of the page because we opted for the free option.
Right.
Any changes dramatically, of course, increase the price.
And when do you expect it to come online?
Last status update, they were about 50% done.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions of our town administrator? Thank you, John, for taking the time to
You're
be here. I
welcome. Thank you for the
appreciate it.
questions. I'm glad I could help.
Thank you.
And I just will put the invitation, if any of you have any questions you think of after this, feel free to contact me. I'll give you information I can.
Thank you, we
appreciate it.
appreciate it. Okay. So I think that pretty much wraps up our expenditures, because I didn't see anything else that kind of jumped out, other than the questions we've just addressed.
We got must be an error on the planning and zoning dues and publications.
Oh,
It's a budgeted number of 150 and a cost of 62.93. It's middle of 310,
Yeah, so
3
that,
of 10.
yeah, no, I have an explanation for that. That is, dues and subscriptions were being put into another account. I'm not sure, John, if you know what account that was, but that was in Rita's, when she came in to to work on the accounting. So that is the dues and subscriptions for New Hampshire, Central New Hampshire Planning Commission. It was being put someplace else, and now it's under Planning Board, which is really where it should be, I believe. So this just moved from someplace else to here. So that's why it looks like it's,
Is there an
It's
offsetting
over.
line that it was budgeted for? Or we just
I don't know.
overspent by 61?
No, because it was someplace else. Do you know where that would have been, John?
It originally, back in February, I did bring a report, I anticipated that. It was inadvertently put under the legal expense line.
Oh.
So they took it out of there and they
Yeah.
put it into the reason it's over is because it hasn't been budgeted properly all this time. That's where it goes. Why it was only budgeted 150, I have no idea. But going forward, the dues of 6,000 will be in that line
Yeah.
to cover the expense.
Yeah.
So that being said, then, if we look at the legal expense line of 40,000,
No, I see, 2,000.
what?
Which one?
Yeah, 2,000.
It was put in the planning board legal expense.
Oh,
and
not the
legal.
total legal, okay.
No. The legal expense line is for town-wide usage.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, I try to stay away from lawyers as much as possible. Sometimes I don't have that option. So I was
anything
hoping-
big that's requiring all this expenditure to legal?
Pardon?
Is there anything big that's going on that's requiring all this money being spent to legal?
Well, the closing of AES cost a big deal.
Okay,
And then it's small issues coming up.
but it's not like we're being sued.
No, there
Okay.
is no active lawsuit right
Okay.
now. I'm hoping to get through the year and be able to say we don't have an active lawsuit.
Cool.
Is there any other questions?
No, anybody else have any questions?
No.
Hold on.
So welfare though, huh? We're not gonna make welfare, huh?
No, it's been, unfortunately for us and a lot of the public, not a good year.
Right.
And they are not slowing down coming through the door. I think 2 new people just came in today. And we are mandated by law, if people come in, we have to help them if they qualify. And I'm often asked, do you have a better budget number for that? Unfortunately, it's a guess every year. You could raise it up so you don't go over and not spend anything. Or you could drop it to save money in the budget, and then you have an influx of people and you're gonna overspend it.
Right.
And if you overspend it, it comes from anywhere else in the budget.
But the town is now deeding properties, right, for non-payment of
We had
taxes?
5 properties that have been deeded. Letters, the next part of the process is called a notice of repurchase. So those 5 property owners got letters sent out today, and they have 30 days to consider whether or not they want to buy their property back, because currently the town owns it. And within 30 days, if you contact me, you have an opportunity to buy the property back.
And it would be for outstanding
All your
interest,
outstanding-
taxes, and costs associated with deeding? Okay,
Initially, before you got deeded, you just needed to pay off the deeded amount.
right,
Now, in order to get back, you have to pay back all that you owe,
okay,
which is far more substantial than the original amount.
right.
Is there interest associated with that fee?
The interest continues to accrue. If you, the property owner, want to buy your property back, you have to pay the interest that's been accruing. If another person wants to buy the property, say at an auction or a closed bid, they do not have to pay that accrued interest.
So after 30 days, it goes to, like,
Then there's a waiting period of 90 days before the town can dispose of the property.
okay, and that would become public, whoever the highest bidder or whatever.
Whether the board wants to go through an auction process
Yeah.
or a closed bid.
Okay,
Either one
but the town most likely would accept it for whatever's outstanding.
The town, when, the obligation of the town is when you go to an auction or a bid, whatever money is owed the town is all you can collect from the proceeds. The remainder of whatever comes in for the sale of the
Goes to the property owner.
goes back to the property.
Right,
That's law.
yeah. Similar to foreclosures, so.
Correct.
Got a quick schedule on the budget schedule.
Yeah.
Under Saturday, November 15th. There's also a date that says Saturday, December 13th.
Snow day.
That is a snow day.
Yeah.
Good, you have to go to the road.
So that actually should have been moved down. To clarify.
Oh, I see what you're
because-
saying, John, I see what you're saying, hold on, please. Oh, I took it out.
Because it's under Saturday, November 15th.
Yeah, that I need to correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All
So it really should be, the Saturday after that. Which would be what?
November 15th, it would be the 22nd, right?
Right, that would be the snow day. So thank you.
So the 22nd of November?
Right, since the 15th is the actual scheduled day. But then again, we could be running into a problem. I'll have to check the RSA, because you have the earliest you can have it, and then the last day you can have a budget hearing. So let me check that 13th, because I have to change the first date anyway.
Yeah,
From the first to
I
the
wanted
eighth.
to mention that. So instead of having our first meeting on November 1st, because these are joint meetings with the Board of Selectmen, and there'll be a couple of the Board of Selectmen out, vacations that were planned back in the spring. Is it okay with this committee to have our first budget meeting on November 8th as opposed to November 1st?
I'm okay with that.
Instead of having
I'm
a
okay with
week in between, you're just gonna have.
We're gonna
it
go
back
the
to-
1st and then, the 8th and then right to the 15th and,
Do we need a motion?
yeah, I'd like to make a motion if
Aye.
that's okay.
I'll second
Okay. So we have a motion, who made the motion?
it. Or you
Oh,
said-
I'll make the motion, okay. I'll make the motion,
I'll
Tim will
second
second, to change our first budget meeting from Saturday, November 1st to Saturday, November 8th. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Time and place?
well,
All the meetings are gonna be the AES.
Yes, okay,
Yep.
good.
okay, thank you.
Are you gonna have a better audio?
I can't promise that, I'll see.
Because it's terrible.
It is.
It is.
You can't hear,
Oh,
you
I
can't hear what people are saying and,
It's not
yeah,
much,
you know, we wanna vote on it, but you can't understand it.
it's not much you can do in that room now.
It's,
It's very echoey.
Unless we brought in a company with audio equipment, with microphones, you can hire a company, they usually do deliberative sessions, they'll come in and set up a mic at every chair, and they do the sound mixing, but there's a cost for that.
But you,
But that
John, you're
would be
only
the only
talking
way.
about the budget committee meetings, because the deliberative and the actual,
Are gonna be.
is gonna be at the new
Yeah.
school,
But I know
right?
what John's talking about,
Yeah.
it's not good.
No, the acoustics are terrible in
And the
there,
lighting's not good, you
right?
gotta keep moving. and-
Other than that, it's perfect.
I'll see what I can do,
Right.
but yeah, I realize that.
Okay,
Is it still
Can we
9
borrow
a.m.?
the school's equipment, or does that not, is that not mobile?
John, part of the
9 a.m.
problem with that room is when you start putting audio equipment in there, it echoes even more. Right, and it's worse, actually. John, do you
I'll
know,
see what I can do to
Okay.
try to do it.
is that curtain still, up in there, or did that get taken down? To divide that in half?
I don't know, I'd have to look.
Cause that might be a good idea to block off half of that in,
I don't remember
Is it a
seeing it.
rolling one or a pull across
No,
I
one?
think it's a
pull
pull
across,
across.
it's a pull
I don't remember
across,
seeing it.
I don't either.
yeah,
It may have been taken down.
yeah. John, can I just ask you to revise this and shoot it out to me
Yeah,
so I can
have
share
I
it?
have my notes.
Great,
One
thank
at
you.
AES rolls down,
The one at AES,
rolls down. in
From the
middle of
ceiling?
Yeah.
So it might still be up there, that's a thought.
so you had a break
We
it
know
up.
somebody knows how to operate that.
Thank you, Lisa.
She'll be in the meeting.
Jeez,
All right.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
welcome.
Okay,
Yeah, thank you, you all have a good weekend too.
yeah.
Please don't.
Have a good night.
Okay, so off to the revenues. I think revenues are coming in, taxes seem to be coming in. Yeah.
Fire chief. That's it.
Do, any questions of Eric for the fire department?
I think I covered most of the last meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think you did. You're pretty.
I think we're good, Eric. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
If they should have asked them where that money went, $300,000.
Well,
We're
we'll ask.
revolving.
It went to the revolving fund,
Why?
because the revolving fund was put in place for fire and EMS.
Yes, the money from Tri-Town.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the only place it could go.
I thought it was directly appropriated just to the ambulance for some reason.
but now the ambulance and the fire are one
Yeah.
department.
Yeah.
So they're not separate budget.
Right.
They used to be. Okay, so revenues.
You're on the school district.
No, I'm on the MS 535, the revenues for the town, and I mean, that, it is what it is. We budgeted, we take in, no, it's not right. Hold on. I
Is
think
that a
the
different document?
tax, yeah, the
Passed
MS
out?
535. It would have been, I would have sent it on your email.
Oh, crap, okay.
But
Let me see.
what's not in here, cause we took in actual revenues, is 77,28,571. There's no way we anticipated revenues, so what's not in here is the property taxes.
Oh,
So it's
That's a
not
big number.
accurate, that's a big number. So we'll have to get that revised. Okay. So now we are on to state of the town, we did. Keith, would you like to, go over the expense reports for the school, of which I didn't send it out because you sent me an email
Right.
that it wasn't, so if you wanna explain that.
So, we just finished up, the expenses from 24-25 school year. And, I had it up here. There's going to be $0 given back to the taxpayers this year. And that is strictly really because of the school choice. You guys all saw on the news that school choice was super underfunded, the health insurance that most schools use. Allenstown portion wasn't that bad, although it was still an expense that nobody anticipated.
Which ate up the
It
revenues.
was, where is it? It was $207,534.83. All right, that's how much we had to portion out. So we had an end of year fund balance of $357,036.51. The warrant articles that were voted to fund was $175,000. So we were able to fund the warrant articles, pay the school care assessment, without affecting much, and taking $25,498 out of the current school budget. So although we're not giving any money back to taxpayers, we're not freaking out about how are we gonna come up with $207,000, right? So, you know, it's unfortunate that we're not giving any money back, but, I think, coming in at a default budget, and then, oh, I'm sorry, no.
No, that
our
budget
default
passed.
budget this year, yeah, that budget passed. But you know, you look at the 357,000, that would have, actually, that's not even, $200,000 that would have come back. Again, that wouldn't have made a huge difference, Melaine. What would that have made approximately? $200,000 on our tax bill.
50 cents.
Well, it's $5.35 for every dollar, so you're looking at 50 cents.
Yeah, we go 45.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of where it's at, right?
The good news is that you had the money
The good news is we had the
to
money.
pay the school
The
choice.
good news is because of having the warrant articles and everything too, because there was other options we could have done. We could have said we can pay it out of the school budget and then taken money out of warrant articles to run the school, right? Like we could use a technology budget, the technology warrant article, but that doesn't make any sense. Those are there for, like John said, rainy day. What if something major happens? So we're able to go ahead and do that, right? Now, I am working to make a huge commitment. So many people think that we don't get the school funding because the SAU office and the business administrator doesn't do their job properly. I can say is the year that I've been on the school board now, I also, part of my duties as a school board member sitting on the executive board, I'm finding out that Allenstown is the only school district that doesn't get their stuff in on time. Okay, now, why is that? I don't know, but,
You're talking about the whole, like, all the different schools included, though? just
all the five
district?
SAU, the five
The
school
SAU.
districts in our SAU,
Financials are done by the town.
the financials are all done by the SAU.
So they
Amber
might
Wheeler-
get theirs done, right, and you might get done, but they rely on the SAU to compile everything and put together.
No, it's because there's people in our school district, in the Allenstown School District, that aren't getting the stuff over and properly doing the paperwork they need to do to get it to the office and don't seem to care. That's
So
what I'm
it's us
finding
to
out.
them.
It's us to them.
Oh.
So.
These aren't employees, these are kids going to
No.
the school's parents or something?
No, these are,
These are employees.
Oh, employees.
Right? And I have to be very careful what I'm saying. Please understand that, because I'm not gonna make
School
any
employees or
accusations.
town employees?
School employees, because the town has nothing to do with what we do at the
School
school,
They could
right?
just make, excuse me if I may interject, just Jeff again, make the distinction between our school board getting their
Yeah.
stuff properly done. That's getting done. Now, it's the matter of the.
No.
So we're not, so you guys aren't getting theirs done in time?
Not the school board.
That's what I'm
So,
trying to say.
Let me
Hold on a
back up a
second.
minute.
Yeah.
Let me back up.
I was saying that.
You're
Yeah,
trying to
because
step
I-
too lightly here.
I'm putting too many things out there, I think.
Yes, you just have to be
Um,
clear. You're getting your
so-
budget done.
So, when we get the funds, you know, for many years, we've always said on this municipal budget committee, why doesn't the school funding ever get done? Why is it always so late, right? Why do we always
Last
get the
minute,
year-end
We're always
reports
scrambling.
so late? We're in October, and we finally have the year-end reports done, right? Okay? From the 24-25 school year. So the SAU Office of Business Administrator, Amber Wheeler, her department does all of that funding and stuff for all 5 districts in the SAU: Deerfield, Chichester, Allenstown, Epsom, and Pembroke. Right, did I do 5?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, all right. So, we all thought here that they just couldn't do their job in the business administrative office, right? I mean, we've talked about that many times in this committee before some of you got on there. Now I'm finding out that the other 4 school districts close out their stuff in July. They know where they're at. Because the school year ends, the funding ends June 30th.
June, yeah.
Right? June 30th is done. And in July, maybe August, they're done. They know where they're at. They know what they have left over to get back to the taxpayers, or they know what to do, like whatever, right? I'm like, I don't understand this. As I'm hearing this, right? So I'm just learning about some of this stuff. So I'm finding out is, I asked why. And I was told why. But I'm not gonna share those whys with you guys because I don't wanna put it out there without
Going forward.
going forward in the right way.
Yeah, can we
okay?
just get on?
Is there a light on the horizon?
Yeah.
Can we get on track?
There is a light on, in the horizon.
This is
because-
talking about getting refunded grant money, right?
Because, well, there is a rule, but we have people who say we don't have to follow those rules, right?
No budget.
But I'm just learning to understand, I'm just learning about some of this stuff. I'm just getting to understand this stuff a lot better, all right? Because it's just been a year that I've been on the school board. So, I'm working, there's a lot of things that, like, I'm trying to help get done without sounding arrogant. I know that might have come across the wrong way. But hopefully, when we meet in June, right, we'll have a really good indication of where we're gonna be at. You know, not a guess, you know what I mean? Because we're still waiting. Yeah, so that's kind of that.
But I will
right?
say, you know, I don't know where, you know, I'm not even gonna dig deeper into that, but there have been times when, you know, the SAU has provided the budget and there's been changes because there's been unanticipated revenues that had come in. You know, and we can't control that. Neither can the school, neither can the SAU.
No, but there's a difference between having unanticipated revenues coming in that are just positive, right? And not knowing where you're at on your budget, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And those unanticipated revenues, if I'm understanding it right, so please let me clarify, if I'm understanding it right, following the same thing that I just said, okay? If I understand what I'm hearing right from talking to other school board members in other towns and other people in the SAU office, they know where their unanticipated revenues are, because they get their paperwork in.
No, I'm,
Okay, now again, I'm still understanding a lot of that, I'm still working to understand a little bit more. But to your point, Elaine, is, no, I don't think we would have to worry about that if we had our stuff done the way it's supposed to be done.
Or be
Like-
less of an impact.
Less of an impact, right? Or what, just like John was talking about the audits, we're 3 years behind or whatever that number was on the audits, right? 2 years behind because work wasn't getting done. So, and then that backs up if you can understand it, that backs up then the business administrator's office to get the budgets up and running that we need to have in another month. Right, because they're playing catch up instead of doing their current job, they're doing the job that should have been done 2 months ago, roughly, right? Does that make sense? So hopefully that's gonna be a little bit better and a little bit more taken care of, and you know, hopefully with being in the school for a year and a half now, I guess, having a little bit more data. We can really, not having ARD and AES anymore, plowing, keeping all that, you know, school like slightly heated and slight electricities and stuff in there. There's not gonna be any of those expenses, so we'll see what the budget's gonna go ahead and bring. We're just starting to tackle that budget now. We have a meeting the 20th, I think, a budget meeting on the 20th, so we're just looking at light of that right now, to see what goes ahead and happens with that.
so the report that I was given had, we had a surplus of like 138,000, according to the report that I didn't send out because you asked, you know. So there is a surplus, and with the school choice and the insurance that no one had any control over, we've made up. So no money will be coming back to the town, but we don't have to overexpend
We don't have to overexpend
the
anything.
school budget.
We're taking $25-ish thousand out of this year's
year.
budget, which really is just a drop in the bucket. We chose not to, so by law, we can put so much money in what's called retainage, and that's held kind of with the state in an escrow account in case something major happens with your building that you need to fix, like the roof or windows, you know, or a leakage or something, but we're in a brand new building.
Right.
So I was just like, no, we're not putting any money in
Tornadoes.
retainage, you know? But that's not like, that's a natural disaster, that's something completely different, right? So, you know, we should be good. I'm hoping the budget's gonna come in under default again, to be perfectly honest. I think we can go ahead and do that. You know, we'll just kind of plug away from there.
Is there any anticipated expenditures for next season?
So we just purchased a generator, so the school's gonna have it's not gonna operate the whole school, but it'll operate the necessity stuff.
Okay.
We had to put in a water treatment again, another one. So if anybody in New Hampshire, anybody in this town, in this building right now,
Boston.
sorry, anybody sitting in this room right now has a well, probably realizes that they have arsenic in their water, right? New Hampshire's in the top 3 in the world in arsenic. Well, as you can imagine, they had to have an arsenic system put in the well. Now, we've had it tested once and it came back negligible, like almost 0, right? So it's working. I did ask the maintenance guy to do a follow-up about maintenance contracts and where we're at on those kinds of things. They're looking, you know, again, they're looking at salt. What kind of salt do they want to put down? They noticed some pitting in the sidewalks from the salt, so they're seeing if there's a better alternative to go ahead and use, but that's gonna cost more money.
Right.
Allenstown Aggregate and the Verbals basically donated the whole baseball field. I know most people knew Allenstown Aggregate did.
Not Allenstown Aggregate.
I'm sorry, Advanced Excavating.
It was Advanced Excavating that did it.
Excavating, but I just found out the Verbals donated a lot of the backfill and stuff for that in the thing. So Armin and Claudette
from their
stepped
pit.
up to that.
From their
So
pit on Dodge Road.
yeah, I'm trying to think. So I'm not anticipating that like any major expenditures, but again, in a new building, you know, when I was teaching, I went through a new school, and sometimes those first 3 years, you know, you find stuff out that you're not really sure, that you just don't know.
Break-in period.
Yeah, break-in period, you just don't know until you know, right?
Keith, what happened with the Rhymes, the pipe that went in for the natural gas, or the propane wasn't?
So the pipe from the propane tanks to the school was not big enough.
For the generator?
No, for the school.
For the school.
For the school.
Now, you pay architects, you pay engineers, you pay professionals to install these things. You have a propane company that is their job, right? They come out to my house and look to see if the pipe going to my house is big enough, and then like check all the pipes going to all my appliances. But yet, that wasn't big enough. So there was an expense to that. It was around $9,000. Although
Who ended up paying? I know the school was going
The
after Rhymes.
no, well, so we voted. I gotta try to say this right. So Gordon and Milestone. So Gordon was our general contractor. He was like our project manager. They've agreed to pay something towards that. Both of them agreed that they would take care of part of that. Now, I can't tell you how much, right? I'm not sure exactly. But given Advanced Excavating's great donation of they provided all the labor, we paid nothing for that baseball field. Plus they plow the school. We voted to pay their bill because they had to dig it up and repave, right?
The school did.
The school did. Yep, the school board voted to pay their bill. So to make good for them. And then we're gonna figure out how we're gonna get that money back from the other people that should have gone ahead and done it right. Period, plain and simple. And people might think, well, it's only $9,000, it's small potatoes. Well, it's not. $9,000 is a lot, right? And I'm not really gonna be satisfied until that full $9,000 is taken care of by somebody else, because somebody should have caught that.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
I
Somebody
think,
should have caught that.
Gordon, Milestone, and Rhymes.
Well,
They're the professionals installing.
okay, now, I don't know where, I'm not defending Rhymes, but if you look at that, where were they in that process, right? Where were they in that process from the beginning, or was the school built, the pipes laid according to whoever wrote that spec, and then it went out to bid to find out, was it gonna be Rhymes, was it gonna be AmeriGas, was it gonna be whoever to do that? So I can't fully say Rhymes did know that that pipe was not big or not
Right.
small enough. I can't say that, I
Right.
don't know.
But it's resolved anyway.
It's resolved. So the water's resolved, that's resolved, and I think those were really, the big things. I think there was a sewage smell, for lack of a better term, but I think they discovered, like, you know, in our houses, like, yeah, they had some outside ventage and some different things happened, so that's all been taken care of. That was last year, that was taken care of a while ago. I really can't think of much else.
Is the generator propane? No, diesel?
I think it's diesel. Yeah, I think it's gonna be diesel. I don't know why.
Diesel sometimes is easier, but, you know.
Well, you got propane tanks right there, so,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's only a 24-hour diesel generator, so what are you gonna do if you need a generator, it's probably because we're in a problem,
yeah.
Right.
right? So, what are you gonna do if you need?
You gotta get like an oil delivery truck and get it,
Yeah,
You know.
and what happens if they can't get out?
or, yeah.
Like, so I'm not really,
Well, you would close school though, right?
yeah, but the idea behind having that is to make sure that it doesn't freeze,
Yeah,
that the stuff stays good, you know, done well. Now, it's a brand new building. It should be insulated and stuff well enough that it should last probably 48 hours, right? But you still have pipes, you still have things, you still have walk-in freezers and refrigerators with all this food in it, right? You still have alarms, you still have the pumps. What happens if the sewage pump goes? You know, and yes, it's on a septic, but there's still that kind of pumpage and stuff that you need to, like, so you don't want that backflow. Like, so there's enough to go ahead and have it, but, you know,
Was the diesel that much cheaper?
I don't know.
they come as a big unit,
They come as a big unit,
and then a
and
tank and everything, and they just plop them and.
in my opinion, it was rushed a little too fast because we had to use money by
Before-
June 30th, and I don't think it was properly, in my opinion, wasn't properly thought out enough. I was not happy with it, and I let that be known.
If natural
Right.
gas would have been the way to go, but it's probably not out there.
We don't have natural gas out there now. We couldn't even get the water lines out there.
Yeah,
Send to the department.
And whatnot,
They
so,
provide the information to the-
You know, that's where it's at, but we have a boys and girls soccer team. I think we're gonna have a boys and girls basketball team. There's a lot of extracurricular activities that kids are doing there. The kids are excited to be at ACS, right? There is a lot of excitement there. I mean, you saw there, you see it. I don't
It's
think.
pride of ownership, and we knew that was gonna
Yeah.
happen.
There's not an issue with having K through 8 in one, you know, one building, right? I think it's segregated enough, for lack of a better term, but, yeah, I think it's a lot of fun out there.
And I will add that, and I know that's only because they were selling tickets and things to sponsor kids, but the PTO had a fundraiser to raise money cause the baseball field is completed and the soccer field is completed. The only thing that's not out there are scoreboards. Yeah, so the PTO had a major event that was school-wide, and they needed, I think, like 8,000 or whatever. They raised well over 9,000, and they bought, or are in the process of buying, I've not seen, at least could probably comment, a big scoreboard on wheels, and it's gonna be solar, that they'll wheel, you know, in the soccer season, it will be at the soccer field, and then they'll bring it over to the baseball field in baseball season. So there will be a scoreboard, which is really exciting, because that was significant money, and the PTO and the parents and whoever sponsored these kids raised quite a bit of money, which was kinda good. So, is that it for the school?
I think so. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head.
Okay. Thank you, Keith. Okay, so we went over the budget season calendar. John's gonna revise it and get it back to us. But I will under, new business. So a metrics was done, by the both of you?
Yeah.
So, and I added a few things when I saw it to include pay scales and steps and
Oh,
all
okay.
of that information that I would like to see on it. So what this is going to be, it's gonna go to all department heads. And the department heads are gonna be required to fill out all the required information that's being requested prior to budget season and sent back to the Board of Selectmen. So some of the things, for example, the police department. How many full-time officers, how many part-time officers, non-officer staff, which is all your clerical, average number of traffic stops each week, domestic calls each week, all of these things. How many times, did we have to attend, or they had to attend court? And then the fire department, same thing, the number of staff, how many ambulance calls, how many transports per week. All of this, which I think will be great information for budget committee moving forward. Same thing with highway department, how many average hours per employee during snowstorms, emergency work that needs to be done, code enforcement, building inspector, well, that's, I guess, to be determined, but.
Yeah,
No, but you wanna know that because.
You wanna
there-
know that.
There's a decision on whether or not
So,
it
yeah,
really
so-
needs to be a full-time.
If it's justified,
I'm thinking
exactly.
part-time will work.
How many permits do we,
right, so that's
Do we
what we're
generate?
looking at, because
Right.
we had a part-time building inspector, and then then Hillsborough and the mill and the school, I believe, were going on at the
Occupied
same
a lot
of
time.
time.
So hours were, significant amount of hours were added. Now, those two projects are well complete,
All three
right?
are complete.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, been
So-
complete, and,
wasn't there a
and,
project manager
and
involved in
it's-
all those?
Yes, it
and
was,
it's
yeah.
still a full-time position. And
You know-
it's also a vehicle that, the building inspector uses to commute from home to Allenstown.
Yeah.
That's an Allenstown
Some of the
vehicle.
questions that are being
Down
asked
to
of
Waltham, or wherever it is?
Waltham and
Was that part of his
Wolfboro or-
employment?
It's in, it's
that
in
was
his, it's in his contract,
Yeah.
that it was approved by the board at the time.
But,
So-
some of these things that, and like code enforcement, building inspector, how many hours per week, how many interactions per week, building permits,
Right,
inspections.
inspections.
Inspections per month, multiple inspections, single inspection, pictures, how many code infractions did he find?
Is that an annual thing?
Well, I mean, it's a good, yes, it would be,
It's a good start.
We
It's
have,
a
we have
good
to pick a
start.
starting point, but I
Yeah.
think if we keep it going,
Maybe you
Yeah.
post it every 6 months or
It's
something,
twofold.
because a lot
One,
of people
it-
ask these questions.
right, it would
Yeah.
help, it
They
would
go,
help.
well, what does the police department do?
Right.
You could
Right, and I
go,
think, that information is gonna be really useful for us, for the board, the Board of Selectmen,
budget
the
committee.
budget committee, and also to communicate to the townspeople what people do, because,
Right.
you look at somebody's like, what does he do all day?
Yeah.
Well, probably a list of, a zillion things,
Yeah.
right? So,
It's all about trying to be
It's-
proactive,
right,
and trying to change the
transparent
direction.
with, the townspeople
Yeah,
too.
town clerk, tax collector, full-time, part-time, average transactions per week, online transactions that they're processing per week,
Right,
non-transaction interactions that they have per week. It's a good starting point. I think it will be, because we all, as a committee, ask these questions
Right.
every budget season.
but if
You
we
know,
publish those
Yeah,
numbers-
and I, when they sent it over, I went over it and I said, I would like it also to include, what are the pay scales? What are the steps for each department? The information that I have, I think is very outdated, but we've done the payroll analysis, so
Yeah.
whatever that
Yeah.
is. And necessary wish list items. I ask that question every single budget season. What are we looking at that's gonna have a financial impact? Warrant articles, I know that the garbage is gonna be readdressed. That would have significant impacts to the overall budget. Yeah, so just information that we, and I guess this
It's-
would be in some sort of a Excel format?
Yeah, I think we'll have to design the form so that
To
they
just-
could just
right.
plug the numbers in, cause if it's too much research and they have to put it together, we're gonna get, a dozen different formats.
Right.
And that's not gonna be useful.
So I'm, bringing it up only so that you know that this is coming and it will help us during the budget season. And also, is there anything else that you would like to see? I know the fire department, I ask him this every year, so he knows now, he comes with that. These are the calls we made, this was the number of fires,
Usually ask about vehicles, what vehicles are being.
what's outdated, what do you,
Life
Yeah.
expectancy.
yeah, the
How
whole
many years
wish
it-
list thing, yeah.
Yeah.
So-
How about mutual aid for the police department? 'Cause I noticed, was it last year or the year before, you asked them about that, and it's kinda interesting to see how they spread out the calls, all different towns and stuff.
If they assist other towns,
Yeah.
yeah, that's probably something we could.
Yeah, so I'll
it-
just
it
write
might-
this
sometimes
down,
it's more than you
Mutual
think.
aid.
Right.
yeah.
Mutual aid,
We
and the
we
same
get
with the
reimbursed for that?
fire department too.
I know with the police department, if they're going on a construction detail
Right.
Yeah,
to
they get
another
paid for
town, they
that.
get paid for that.
Right.
But if it's, I know if it's also fire, that we're part of the Concord Area Mutual Aid
Right,
Compact,
there's
so
no-
that's
there's no- We
all.
don't pay for that.
If we fight a fire, help fight a fire in Pembroke,
Right.
then no, we don't get reimbursed or paid for
If they're gonna
that.
come
Right.
down and help us, we don't wanna get charged for that.
Right. So I'll put mutual aid, anything
Fire
else?
and PD. Mutual
Fire and
aid
P,
funds.
yeah,
I mean, just so we know, I
okay,
don't think fire's a whole lot, but.
yeah, and anything else you'd like to know, or?
I think this is good, cause we always ask the same question.
It's the same questions, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, it brings it a little bit more in depth, it brings it a little bit
Right.
more like, we never talked to, like Eric, the fire chief always gives us that information about calls. But, I
I'm gonna
started
give
thinking
this to
is,
you, Diane.
what does the police department
The
do,
other one?
right? You know what I mean, and not saying that they don't do
No.
anything, I don't mean
Yes.
that, but we don't know, how many hours are they in court or preparing for court
Do you,
Right.
in that, right?
Yep,
Or-
that's good.
We think of the highway
do you
department,
wanna
and
structure the
we think
spreadsheet,
of,
or-
they
yeah.
call snow,
Okay, I was just second, ask Ronnie
Do a
too.
little mowing
Paved
and do a
mowing.
little mowing, right?
and pick up the leaf.
But we know they do more than that, and you only know they do more than that if you actually see them working where you live at. Like, for instance,
They
I
do the
live up there,
culverts.
I live up there Field Road.
They fix roads. too.
How many times
Oh, yeah, that's
did they
always
have to
washing
go
out,
ahead
yeah.
and fix that washout and finally go ahead and kind of do it? So that's why it was like, we
Still
really
think,
don't know.
I still think they wanna do more up there, but
They,
it's a lot of money.
but if we have this information, right, and we get it publicized so people can look at it, and inform themselves about, they're not just sitting in the fire department station watching TV, or they're not just at Dunkin' Donuts drinking coffee, yada, yada, yada. There's actually that information behind that, like, wow, we have 1.5 tax collector, town clerks, and they're doing 140 transactions a week. I don't know what that number is, right? But, it's a lot easier to go ahead and justify a budget if you have those numbers.
Still boils down to, there's families out there that are just not quite making it, and then we're asking them to give us even more.
But that's in every case,
Yeah.
right?
But at least we're having transparency.
But there's
Right.
transparency.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's really important.
Right.
And we have to look at this as a business, not as a municipality sometimes, right?
Yeah,
I'm
I'm on the fence on that one.
if you run it like a business instead of like a municipality, things tend to make more sense, and that's kind of what we started doing with that document, is getting that information.
Oh, it is a corporation.
I'm gonna take this information and I'm gonna create the spreadsheets and get them over I'll get them over to you so you can share them with the department heads.
Okay,
And I'm going to include, pay scale, steps, all of that information.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna include, I want these things included in the budgets when they present the budgets to us.
oh, okay,
Okay?
Like a narrative, like part of the
Yeah,
narrative? Okay.
yeah, and I'm also gonna include a section, where vehicles are involved, how many vehicles do you have, what are the year of these vehicles? Just to get a feel for where are we, so that if something blows up in the next year, at least we'll know that, we knew
Yeah.
this was coming,
that would help. I mean, like John said, it takes a certain amount of money to run the town, and that's that.
Yeah.
So it's,
So I will get this to you,
Okay.
and then you can share it so
Yeah.
that when we start meeting on the 8th, we'll have this information attached to whatever
Yep.
budget we're looking at.
okay.
I just have something real quick, because we
Yeah.
brought this up last time, I think Dave brought up the library, so I just wanted to, show you per our budget, how much we've actually got in grants and donations to run some of the programs. We do a summer reading program, we bring in also like, we have like, we bring in animals so the kids can see the animals, we bring in like different speakers, storytellers, different things like that, all through the summertime, and we all do it through grants and donations. So I kinda just wanted to give you guys this, we'll talk over it when we do with the budget itself, but I just wanna give it ahead of time so you guys can kinda see, we run a lot ourselves, we do a lot through grants. Our director's done a wonderful job, he passes out, educating herself. We had 0 when I took over, 0 grants, 0, very few donations, so that was something we really wanted to improve upon, is to take that burden off the taxpayers and do a lot more bang for the buck with the library. So just wanted to give you guys that ahead of time so you can take a look at it and see what that's going on.
Jeff, does the library have a grant writer?
Our director does it herself. We put a line item in there for education, so she taught herself how to go out there and get these. And she's done a wonderful job, as you can see throughout the years, getting grants and donations so we can do a lot of those programs. A lot of the prizes for the kids with the summer reading programs, it's all donations. So it's really what we try to do to take the burden off the taxpayers and do a lot in-house.
Yeah, maybe.
So I just thought I'd show it to you guys, you can look at it, and then when we present the budget, we'll go over it again, but I just wanted you to see what we're kind of doing over there.
Thank you.
Jeff,
Thank you.
I just have a question.
Yeah.
Under 2025, Brady Sullivan Program Sponsorship, $500. Did we reach out to Brady
She
Sullivan?
does, she reaches out to everybody, that's what she does.
To the
Yep.
businesses in town?
Yep, that's what she does, she'll reach out, she'll ask, like if she's has something that's going on, she'll reach out and ask for donations. One time when we were
Or
doing Walmart.
sponsored by, I
Or
think I saw.
sponsored, yeah.
Yeah.
So we went, we had to get some, we had to get the wheelchair, the handicap ramp
Yep.
fixed and stuff.
Yep.
One time we went to Walmart, they said no one from the town and library had ever gone to them. It's considered a rural library grant, so we got that, cause they were so happy that someone actually reached out. We got the handicap ramp also, fixed through a grant. So she goes out there, she'll find the grants, she'll ask people to donate, she does a wonderful job fundraising, so I wanted to highlight that, so you guys understand that, we're trying to do the best we can also.
This
not
is
to-
good information,
Is that the
thank
person
you.
that works at the?
Yeah, that's Betsy Randall,
Betsy,
she's
yeah, okay.
actually, yeah.
Yeah.
So for the 2025, how much of that number is actually volunteer hours? How many, like, do you have like a large?
I'll get all that, I'll break it all down for you
115
guys.
volunteer
Yeah, I just
hours.
wanted to highlight some of the stuff. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have her break all that down a little bit smaller chunks, so when we get the budget, I can show you guys what's going on there.
All right, thank you.
No worries.
Looks like about $10 an hour, right?
McDonald's, you get 20.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, anything else that needs to be brought before this committee?
I think I spoke to you about having a budget committee meeting prior to that final public hearing and the vote, so that we can discuss it between us as opposed to having that meeting and then after you have the vote. I think, Keith, you're the one, you spoke up about it last year and said, how could we have all these people saying no when they didn't say anything before? I think that would give people a forum to,
So-
express. And not like 2 years ago where everybody said, we need to have this meeting because we want to cut back, and we didn't cut back anything.
No,
so.
no. You're absolutely
But
right.
just somewhere between that and that final vote that we have at the public session.
So you're looking for a meeting before the December 20th, because Saturday, December 20th is the final
Yeah.
budgets.
Yeah, before that, just to discuss.
Yeah, I kinda understand what you're talking about, cause,
Digest everything
yeah,
prior.
well, not only that, but if you do say no, you don't agree with the budget, like, and vote no, this is a time we can discuss, okay, because you might have a point that somebody else is not seeing, like, okay, hey, that's a great point, or.
Or you may be talked out of having a negative
It may be.
outlook on it.
But it's important that you discuss it, especially that, I think so too. I was wondering that a lot too, I was like, okay, well, you know, why wasn't that brought up? If you voted no, that's great, that's wonderful, but why, we discuss it and find out about it, hey, this budget doesn't seem right to me, or I don't agree with this, then maybe we can look into it a little bit deeper.
The year that we had the significant pay raises, you'll
Yeah, that's what it
recall.
was,
Yeah, we
Yes.
had some heated discussions.
We had heated discussions, and I was getting calls, you know, we need to have a meeting, I'm not comfortable with this, and we called a special meeting and nothing happened.
100%.
Nothing
I
happened.
remember I asked, I said, is this what we wanna do? Is this the hill we wanna die on? And
Yeah.
no one said yes or
Because they
no or
wanted to
whatever. It just-
reconsider and nothing happened,
Right.
you know, so it was like, okay.
Yeah.
So, you want a meeting prior to the 20th of December?
Well,
Which is-
provided that we have all the budget numbers and we've heard all the budgets by
Right.
the 20th. Because we don't know if that'll have,
Right.
right? But John, I know what you're saying is that,
You know, you have that meeting, then all of a sudden
so we
it's, all right,
we heard all the
we're gonna have the
budgets,
vote.
but, yeah, we heard all the budgets, but we just need to hear the budgets and we need to take no action on any of the budgets.
Right.
Any of the department budgets till we're ready to take action on that, right? Because that's what happened last year, you're absolutely right, now that I'm thinking back, so I was looking at you for a minute.
That was
Is-
deliberative session.
No, that was
No.
at our budget.
It
So
was-
it was
What
at the
happened
gym.
was, we heard a budget and then we voted yes or no for the budget,
A lot of
but
people
then,
voted no.
but then we sat there back and said, okay, now let's go back and vote on the budget. It's like, wait a minute, we already voted on the budgets, right? So we can't vote on those, we can't make, any.
That was done the last day, because it's.
But that's what I'm
'cause we-
saying
Yeah, we
is-
took the votes and then
Is
everyone.
we can meet on the 20th and still have that discussion, because that's December, right? Is that when the
Yeah.
school board's
December
presenting?
20th or something.
School board is
December
presenting,
20th is scheduled as a snow day. The actual meeting is on the 13th.
No, the school board is November 15th.
right. No,
So-
the school board is,
No,
yeah, November,
November 15th.
yeah.
Oh, they were gonna
Sewer
change that though,
budget.
weren't you gonna push that up to the 22nd or something?
No, just, we're going from the 1st to the 8th.
So we're doing the 8th,
The 8th, the
And then,
15th.
yeah,
The 15th.
we're only moving the first one up because there was a gap
So
of 2
there's
weeks.
almost a month in between the 20th in. the
All
last-
budgets should be-
The last presentation of the budgets on November 15th.
Right, because December 13th was a snow day, so maybe we meet December 13th. Budget committee meets December 13th, because at that point, we have all the budgets.
and what's December
Well,
20th?
December 13th is the meeting. December 20th is the snow day, according to the budget schedule that we have.
Because I just asked John, and he
Yeah, I
said
think
the
he
There
does-
was a
13th.
discrepancy, it
Yeah, I
says
think he changed
Saturday,
it.
November 15th, and then it says snow date, December 13th.
But I think he had to
So that-
correct something.
Wasn't that a mistake?
Yeah.
All right, so we need to,
It was gonna be like November 22nd would be the snow day.
yeah,
So that December 13th day must be another meeting or something.
Do we have to vote?
I think it's
For an
Saturday,
extra meeting?
December
And
20th.
then it goes to, that's the snow day.
That's-
It's a snow day for budget.
all right, I'll,
This is,
get
the whole
clarification
thing
on
is
it.
sort of screwed up the
Yeah,
schedule.
yeah.
So let's get
I
this.
think there's one missing right here from the 15th to the
Can we do
22nd.
a motion on that, or just wait till?
I'm gonna have to call John on
Okay.
Tuesday.
December 20th sounds like a bad time to have.
Yeah, right around Christmas.
Like, because that's a Saturday before Christmas, and depending on how people take time off.
But I think that's a
it's
snow
gone.
day. That's the snow day for the 13th meeting. If you look at, there should be one snuck, another snow day snuck in between there or
It's
something.
just not a good calendar. Or very confusing calendar.
No, but John, I think you're right. I think that before we vote on the budget, there needs to be some digestion. Now, it could happen that day. It could happen on the.
It can be a
the
week
2nd
afterwards,
November.
2 weeks afterwards,
Right.
and
But I think it's just not to rush to say yes or no on a budget, right? We hear them and then if people are comfortable voting on the 15th, then so be it, but probably not.
Okay.
On what?
November 15th, I
Yeah.
think he said.
No,
Yeah.
that's just the presentation.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
presentation.
Well, the 8th and the 15th are presentation. The
Right.
way
Yeah.
presentations have gone over the last few years, it's like.
We didn't vote on any of them that day last year.
Yeah, last year it went pretty smooth, actually.
We waited and voted all at once.
It was the second day. that
On the
was-
second,
Yeah.
third, yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, I'll get clarification from John.
Okay,
Right.
that's just a thought that would make,
No,
you know, that way you and I, well, we email, but, you know, when you have abstentions and you spend all this time at these meetings and then you can't make a decision, you know, so maybe somebody with doubts would,
Well, it's a lot of digest too, though, and you sitting through a meeting 4 or 5 hours, and then time to digest everything.
okay, that's anything else that needs to be brought before this meeting? Okay,
I
I,
move that we adjourn this meeting.
John, move to adjourn. I need a second. Jules, second.
Seconds, all right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned, and it is 7:47.